The show. This is the weekend update. It is March 12th, 2022. Let me start by saying that I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. So I'll be talking about stock symbol MMAT and MMTLP. MMTLP stands for the Metamaterials Torchlight Preferred Shares. These are the shares that will pay out a dividend based upon the sale of oil and gas assets from Torchlight. Stock symbol MMAT, of course, is Metamaterials. Okay, this is the parent company. So let's have a look at the price action of MMTLP. It's been relatively quiet. Ended the week at $1.71 or so. Trading is fairly, it goes up and down so far. So it's been very, very quiet. Okay. If we look at it over the long term, over its life of trading, which is since basically last October or so, it's still relatively quiet. It hasn't moved a lot, too much. But however, if we look at the price of oil has changed a bit. Okay, it's come down a fair amount this week from nearly $1.20. From $127 to about $106 or so, right? Ending the week at $106. So it dropped significantly. However, oil has gone up significantly over the last year or so. So it has gone from about $65 a year ago all the way up to $130, taking a breather now and dropping down to about $106. It's still, by any measure, an excellent price for the price of oil. If you're in the oil market, you should be very happy. Okay. And of course, MMTLP is in the oil market. So that means that MMTLP has been not moving with the price of WTI, or West Texas Intermediary. It has not been moving with the price of oil. It's been its own thing. So, by any means, at that point, it should be considered to be a very interesting play at this point. It's either an incredible bargain or it's decorrelated with oil, which doesn't make sense because this is meant to be the dividends that come out as a result of the sale of oil and gas assets, right? So let's see. Again, here's another way to look at it. If we look at the time that the oil and gas assets were originally thought of, when George Palikaras made the comment that the dividend might be anywhere from $1 to $20. Way back then, the price of oil and gas was around $40-50. Okay, so yeah, it could be anywhere from $1 to $20 back then. But since then, the price of oil and gas has gone up significantly to the 105 to 115 range just this last year or so. Since then, it's jumped up to about the $125, $130 range even. And now it's come back down a little bit. So, as you can see, it hasn't come back down a lot. The price of oil and gas is still significantly, significantly high. And the dividend payout for MMTLP as a result is also still quite nice, actually. So I'm not worried about this little setback at all. So let's have a look at what people have been saying about MMTLP. This is from Stocktwits, and there's actually been a lot of FUD going on last week about MMTLP, and a lot of people were commenting about about the fact that, hey, issues that they had brought up from a very long time ago would just suddenly get re-brought up, which had been resolved. Most of the FUD is that's been going on last week. Again, here's another tweet from Cable about bears working super hard to spread FUD, right? Why would they? Yeah, it's a really good tweet, actually. Why would they care if you sell or hold or buy more, right? Oil is confirmed. Nothing has changed. Except the timeline and the price of the oil. It's now mid-March. We're expected to get an update by the end of March. And So there's not too much transparency right now. So some people have been frustrated, true, and doesn't change the fact that there's oil. And don't get Cable is basically telling people, and I kind of agree with him. He's basically saying, don't get caught up in the FUD. The FUD is crazy. The FUD is meant to get you to sell your shares, right? And this is basically what's going on with the FUD, with the last round of FUD, right? So they're saying that, hey, if you look at the Q4 results that were posted, we have oil and gas assets that are, on the books as assets held for sale at $73.5 million. Okay, this corresponds to the preferred stock dividends on the liability side of the books, $73.5 million. You take $73.5 million divided by 165 million shares, you get about 45 cents a share, and that's, people are saying you should be getting 45 cents a share. Why are you guys spending all this money to get MMTLP, when you're only going to get 45 cents a share? It doesn't make any sense, right? Well, of course it doesn't make sense because it's FUD. So at the time that these oil and gas assets were actually put onto the books is way back when, they were actually purchased and all that, right? At that time, the price of oil was way down here around $30 a share. I mean, I'm sorry, $30 a barrel. So they're basically not worth much at $30 a barrel. Okay. But now we're looking at oil and gas being between $100 to $110 a barrel. Dividend's going to be worth something at that point, So that's FUD. Anyway, George Palikaras, CEO of MetaMaterials, he made a tweet which, if you hadn't heard it, you should hear it, by now. It's got over 750 likes by now, probably. Anyway, he says, since we did not have time on the earnings call to go into details about the MMTLP dividend, he's preparing a dedicated presentation event where many Preferred A holder questions will be answered. I fully understand everyone's presentations. We are executing a plan. Thank you for your patience. They have a plan for how they're going to deal with this dividend, roll it out. The plan is probably going to be very good for people who are MMTLP shareholders. Because don't forget, John Berta and Greg McCabe are MMTLP shareholders, and they are huge shareholders of MetaMaterials, of course, right? They were there during the merger and all that. They're the big names in Torchlight. They got MetaMaterials shares and all that. So yeah, they're going to be taken care of. And if you're an MMTLP shareholder, you're probably going to be taken care of too. You're probably going to be pretty happy. Okay. Anyway, he's going to outline what's going on. So there's a plan. He's executing to the plan. You'll soon see what the plan is. Okay. Meanwhile, it is March 12th right now at the time of this video. By the time you guys see it, it'll probably be March 13 or later. Sometime in March, they're going to be, making this presentation just about the Preferred A shareholders, and the questions will be answered. Okay. The question that was asked, the main thing that's on people's minds are, what's the anticipated date and the value of the dividend? Okay, that's the main thing. How much is the dividend going to be, and when is it going to be paid out? So we'll get a lot of these questions answered soon. It is March. We'll get the questions answered. The dividend should be done soon after that, hopefully. Meanwhile, if you have not seen Houston Wade's last video, this is quite interesting. So he does a video like every couple of days where he talks about stuff in general, stock markets, this, that. And mostly he talks about, GameStop, AMC, things like that. But yesterday, or on Friday night, I believe, he did a video where he spent about 90 minutes just going over MMTLP and MMAT. Here's links will be provided. I'm not going to go over the whole 9 or 10 minutes that he spent talking about it. Suffice it to say, he was very positive about MetaMaterials and MetaMaterials Torchlight preferred shares. He's a bit of a risk taker. He thinks that he would like to get some some metamaterials options at the end of this is what he's thinking. I stay well away from options because options tend to be, they have this thing called an expiry date, and they have a premium built in. And yeah, it's. I mean, for me, I'd rather just buy the shares and not have to worry about the expiry date or the premium or how much they should, overtake the premium and all that. So anyway, yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is you got MMTLP, which is the Metamaterials Torchlight Preferred Shares, the dividend payout there, and that should be quite good. Houston believes that MMAT will take off after that at some time. He thinks it might be a few weeks. I don't know if it'll be a few weeks or a few days or instantly. It might be a few days, might be a few weeks after that. If it is a few weeks, then you've got time to take that dividend payout and actually invest it into MMAT. You might have a few days, a few weeks. And if MMAT takes off, then at that point you got a huge gain factor, right, on MMAT. Multiply that by the gain factor on MMTLP, and you're talking insane leverage amounts, right? It's a very nice number. Suffice it to say, check out his video. It's worth it. Links will be provided. I'll give a link with the time, so you don't have to hunt for it. Anyway, so in his video, he also talks about Metamaterials having a ton of Series A preferred shares. And if that's the case, I mean, I don't know that that's the case, but if that's the case, then Metamaterials' balance sheet is going to go extremely positive after the dividend is paid out. They might have a couple $1 billion in the bank at that point, right? And that means that, your price-to-book ratio has just decreased dramatically. That means you're getting a huge bargain in Metamaterials, and that price-to-book ratio will not stay low for long. I'll tell you that. Usually, bargains don't exist for very long after they're found out. Anyway, so let me close out the video by looking at the price action of Metamaterials. As you can see, it's been relatively stable. It's $1.61. It's actually less than the Metamaterials Torchlight Preferred Shares. So it's pretty good right there. And that's it. So, there's not that much to talk about right now, right? I mean, if you have the shares, you're in great shape. You're just waiting for the payout. You're waiting for the amount and the time of the payout. That's all I'm doing right now. Yeah. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. I think if you have these shares, you're going to be doing so well. You're not going to ever need to listen to these videos again. I mean, you will be in really good shape. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye.